Hey, this is Michael Bass. Thanks for joining me today. We wanted to have a deeper look in the process industry, actually what is going on these days in this industry, knowing with the oil price and all challenges we have, and then perhaps how Intergraph can help there. So what kind of solution can actually helping now in these difficult times, challenging times in the process industry. So I have today with me two guests. Adrian Park from Norway, he just flew in, right?
That's correct, I'm Michael.
Introduce yourself a little bit.
Okay, so I'm Vice President for Information Management at Intergraph, so I'm responsible for all our information management solutions from a sort of an overall product owner perspective.
Cool, yeah, thanks for joining. And then I have Tom, well, he flew in from Huntsville, Alabama, from our headquarters.
That's right, Michael. I'm responsible for all the design and visualization tools, product management at Intergraph.
Cool, cool, so thanks for joining, Tom. So, the first question I have to Adrian is actually, what you see owner-operators get impacted by this change in the industry, and what kind of solutions perhaps we can offer here, or what kind of we have?
Okay, there's a number of trends that are going on right now in the industry. One of them is that owners are operating plants for longer than they perhaps originally anticipated, in many cases beyond the design life of the plant. Now, that causes a question to be asked, well, can we operate these facilities in a safe and efficient manner? And the only way to really answer that question is to have a good engineering design basis. But these plants, they've often been constructed 20, 30 years ago. So how do you do that? Well, we've had technologies on the market now for a while that have allowed people to capture, structure, and validate information.
So old information is kind of, what, 20 or 30 years ago?
That's right. But whilst we've had these solutions, the hurdle to actually implement the necessary software and infrastructure and have people there to administer these systems has been very high. So one of the things we are launching at the moment is something that we're calling Smart Access. Smart Access is really a packaging of solutions and services so that we have third parties who can actually take documentation from an owner, can be hard copy documents, can be 2D CAD files, Excel files, databases, and structure this, make it available on the cloud. So it's a cloud-based offering for owners. And it's going to reduce the hurdle considerably. So owners who in the past haven't really been able to take advantage of our solutions will be able to do so. So that's one trend. How do we keep existing facilities up to date and be able to use these in a safe and efficient manner?
So there's several technology you have to read and scan all these documents?
Sure. That's where the solution partners come in. So we have a number of solution partners around the world who actually do this work on behalf of the owner. So the owner doesn't have to do it themselves, because the owners are totally consumed with doing their day job.
Right.
So we need somebody to help us on this. Another trend in the industry is do more with less. It's almost being the mantra of the process industry today. Everyone is saying this. So the question is, how can we help people do that?
Sure.
And one thing is to present our information to the users in the context of where they're working. Because most owner-operator personnel, they don't work in engineering systems. They work in maintenance systems, reliability systems, control of work systems, inspection systems. So what we've now developed is, and forgive the geeky word, we've got these OData APIs which actually make information available very easily. So what it really means is that the third-party system can actually access our information and pull it up and provide relevant information to the users in those systems. So people don't have to log into our system to get hold of the engineering information and documentation.
Just perhaps a quick question. I mean, when we have this new product like Smart Asset and put all this together, what about the training needs or the user interface?
Well, that's something we're working on as well. So you might remember last year we introduced Smart Enterprise Portal, which is a great way of providing really easy access to people to see information. So we have that available and people can use that. In fact, we're extending that capability so that now we can access all our information management solutions, both custom SPF and SPO solutions.
So you are helping our customer base and owner operator space basically with solutions that are basically no training required. Just
That's
ready to
exactly
go.
that, yeah. And we're trying to reduce the threshold for using for more of the expert users. So we've now got this, what we're calling the SDA client coming later this year. And that's a HTML5 based client, so it's a web client again. It will run on tablets, it'll run on desktops, it'll run on mobile phones, and you'll be able to create and update data in a web type environment. It's very performant and really simple to use.
So let me plug in also Tom, so he's now listening. So yeah, thanks for the own operator update. So what do you see in the EPC world happening in this industry now?
You know, what's happening is that it's nothing really earth-shatteringly new. I mean, there's still the pressures for productivity. So you want to be able to do more design in fewer hours. You want to be able to reuse what you've done before, but what's different is rather than looking at the design on a piece of paper, what they want to do is they want to take the data and all the relationships that you establish with these modern tools and take advantage of that and reuse it again in the future.
Okay.
And so that's a second big thing.
So don't invent the wheel again and again, just reuse as much as you can.
I think another trend, and this is just a trend that's continuing, is the projects are getting bigger and more complex, and to spread the risk, they're bringing in more contractors to spread that risk. And so you really need to be able to collaborate much better than ever before. So the stuff that Adrian is talking about being on the web it's really absolutely critical that you can share that information.
Project size you see, I mean, and how many EPCs in a project?
I was just talking to Technique just a few minutes ago, and they've got 15 engineering contractors on a single, on big projects, and they're spreading it out and spreading the risk across multiple.
Collaboration is key.
And what they need to be able to do is share data, but keep the intellectual property across that secure. And it's pretty interesting that they're using our technology to do that. We're kind of a market leader. Yeah, we're a market leader there. And then I think the other trend is you want to be able to, rather than just providing documents for construction and operations and maintenance, you want to take advantage of and use that data so you can take advantage of the relationships for building work packages and that kind of thing. So take the design information, bringing it forward.
Do you have other examples of production improvements in your tools? You mentioned reuse.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to talk about two categories of that. We have stuff that's available today to do that, and I kind of took a few notes. First of all, we have for electrical design, we've had a lot of resistance of clients wanting to use our Smart Plant Electrical because they typically use spreadsheets and CAD drawings. Well, now you can take advantage of using those CAD drawings, bring them forward into the data-centric world and add the data and keep it forward. So that's the first thing. Number two, for this productivity, we have a new version of Smart Plant instrumentation that gives you the engineering data editor and our query builder, which is a modern user experience for really manipulating and very quickly making changes to lots of data. And then third, on Smart 3D, immediately today, with these two versions of Smart Plant Electrical and Smart Plant Instrumentation, we have the ability to do cable integration. And we've done workshops with clients where they're actually routing cables during the feed project and bringing it forward through detailed design so they have accurate lengths and accurate costs. And then that just rolls over into construction so that you can do the spooling and make sure all that stuff's there. So that's available today. And then the second category is what's coming out real recently. We have Smart 3D 2016 that's going to be available later this summer. This trend about data reuse, we really take it to the next level where you can much more easily and more cost effectively reuse data.
When I saw this the first time, I was impressed. That was really good with you guys there. So, so from the EPC side, so sounds like offering more productivity, improving productivity of the existing force people have, customers have, improve collaboration. Own operator, I see, do more than with less, you know.
That's right, that's a big thing. And collaboration, of course, is very important for owner operators. So you know, right now we're working with one of our major...
So when we talk about collaboration, and a lot of companies are involved now these days in projects, what do you hear about cloud computing? I mean...
Very much so. I mean, it's very, very central in many of our customers' thoughts. There's a lot of advantages, really. It avoids other handovers between different phases of the project. I mean, people have worked out that the cost of handing over data during a project into operations is between 1% and 2% of total installed cost. And the final handover to operations can take up to a year. So it's a vast amount of cost, which is eliminated totally if everybody's working in the cloud.
Right.
And it also takes care of everybody working on different standards.
So what does it really mean working in the cloud?
Well,
I mean,
for
today,
it doesn't really make any difference to the user, because the user is just really working through web front end and actually working in the system. For the user, it makes no difference. The response is the same, if not better, in the cloud often than with locally installed systems.
Right. I mean, you have all the
and
customers,
it's not limited just to tabular data. We actually are running our 3D applications in the cloud very successfully with very large projects, with very large EPCs like Saipem.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, it's very scalable. So basically what you're doing more with less again. Because basically you can start off with a handful of users and with very few resources, but then you can scale that up as you need to many hundreds of users and scale down again. And you're just paying for the resources that you're using. Whereas with an on-premise solution, you have to dimension it for the maximum number of users that you need.
So do you see the whole trend in our process industry, obviously doing more with less, but also the whole web world and cloud world?
It's going definitely that way, without any doubt. Some customers are at the front end of that, some customers are further behind, but that is the direction that things are going without any doubt.
That's right. So Tom, so as you mentioned, you're just releasing new software, Smart 3D. What other cool stuff you're working on it to help the industry for the kind of?
Well, I talked a little bit about the data reuse. We actually have a new capability that uses this collaboration thing for owners can do project as-built with legacy systems or with Smart 3D. And then, as we talked about collaboration and speeding the cost of communication, our visualization software is we're investing very heavily there. So things look better, they perform faster, they work on the cloud, and we can do that in a web browser, so you don't need to have this big client installed.
So it's zero footprint, so there's nothing installed locally, everything is really rendered back on the server.
That's right. Yeah. And it's not only can you do this collaboration during the design cycle, but you can hand this over and visualize things during operations.
That's right, so you can highlight objects which are involved in a change, or involved in an isolation of equipment. You can actually highlight the objects, and that is really very powerful.
And then the other trend that we're seeing is that augmented and virtual reality. Yeah. So we're actually partnering with Microsoft and the Daiquiri helmet to actually provide 3D visualization in augmented and virtual reality.
So not improve the 3D experience in terms of visualization, you said, but then also reuse it somewhere else.
That's right. Take it out into the field. So the plant floor worker actually has access to the data in his helmet with a visor in front, and you can superimpose information to be able to say this is how you isolate this piece of equipment, or this is the value of the information from the DCS historian. Right. You can actually superimpose that information as the guy is actually looking at the equipment. Very powerful concept.
Okay, I mean, what is augmented reality? Perhaps not everybody knows. So how you describe it in the best way?
Basically what you're doing is you're looking at the physical plant itself, and then you're superimposing information on top of it.
So you don't need to go back to the trailer?
Indeed. That's right. The information is presented to you. So you can say, okay, what is the name of this tag I'm looking at? And it will say this pump is called this. And by the way, do you want to see the maintenance instruction? Yes, well, it can actually be presented to you on the screen in front of you.
So for people lazy,
but it's not the screen, but it's actually on within the helmet or whatever augmented reality device that in the field. It's pretty cool.
I've not tried it yet, so it looks like I need to try it pretty soon.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
So there's also the world I mentioned, but my last question now. So the process industry is changing to the web world, to the cloud world. What about the mobile world?
Definitely. I mean, our mobile solutions have been very well received. We're actually working on a new generation of mobile solutions now that are platform independent, so to work on either Android, iOS or Windows. They can work online and offline, and I think that is definitely going to help. Again, it helps people get information in the context of doing their work out in the field.
Right.
And for design, it's really about reviewing the design, not necessarily doing the design on those mobile tools. And so it's about collaboration and review, and that's the mobile solutions that we'll be providing for design.
So like I have a mobile app and then I can ask questions about the specific installation or
exactly.
item, goes back into the field or go back to the home office.
That's right.
And I collaborate.
So it's not where you're going to be creating massive amounts of data, but it's enough to help the design and
Sure.
enhance the
Yeah.
collaboration.
And do markups, perhaps actually in the field, capture information from an inspection checklist, for example, or take a photograph or a video.
Right. Now, interesting. I think, yeah, thanks Tom, thanks Adrian for today's discussion today. So I think we Intergraph offering a lot of solutions for this challenging time for the process industry. Tom was mentioning productivity improvements with the new tools coming out. Adrian talking about smart asset, so do more with less. And then obviously the easier delivery on the cloud. And then use mobile apps for the mobile workers. Thank you, Michael Bass.